trams of old London, taking my baby into the past, and it's trams of old London blow my mind.
Robyn Hitchcock is an English singer-songwriter. So in 1972, he was in a college band called The Beatles, spelt with two E's, actually with three. And in 1974, he moved to Cambridge. He was in a series of bands, B.B. Blackberry and the Swelterettes, The Worst Fears, and Maureen and the Meatpackers. He then fronted Dennis and the Experts, who became the neo-psychedelic band The Soft Boys in 1976. They had a couple of albums which are regarded as being influential, but they split in 1981. Also in 1981, Robyn released his debut solo album. After two more solo albums, he formed a band called The Egyptians in 1984. He had 4 albums with The Egyptians. He had one more solo album in 1990, then 2 more Egyptians albums, and that band disbanded in 1994. He then had 4 more solo albums, and in 2006 formed Robyn Hitchcock and the Venus 3. This configuration had 3 albums. Now, I'm not sure if they're officially disbanded, but they seem to have released no albums since 2011, when Robyn released the first of a series of 6 solo albums. Hi, my name's Dan. So this was the 3rd solo album by Robyn Hitchcock, and it's my first encounter with him. I knew nothing about him, which is, when I read about him, it's a little bit bizarre, I think, that I didn't know anything about him, because I feel like he's the sort of person that maybe should have been on my radar. So when I'm listening to things, I like stuff that crosses genres and is potentially difficult to describe. When I'm reviewing things, I still like them when I'm listening to them, but it gives me this little difficulty of how to describe the music. But let's go with Psychedelic Folk. So both Wikipedia and the acclaimed music list claim that this is psychedelic folk, and I think that's a reasonable description of it. It's Wikipedia in the page about Robyn Hitchcock in general described this as an acoustic album, and I think that's again a reasonable thing to say. Although there is electric instruments in here, it's generally got a sort of acoustic feel. There's guitars and there's piano. There's electric and acoustic guitar in there. All of that stuff, I believe, is played by Robyn and is multi-tracked. There is one track that has a sax on it, and one track that has an electric bass on it. I think it's electric bass. So the whole album is bookended by 2 instrumental solo piano pieces, and the whole thing has got various different kind of sounds and stuff going on, of course. There are 2 tracks which are a cappella entirely, with harmonies, with Robyn singing with himself. They're nicely done. I like those tracks. The rest of it, at times, there's some out-of-tune-ness. It's got a certain kind of lo-fi edge and raw feel to it as well. His voice, I find it hard to describe voices. I kept trying to work out who he reminded me of. There are times when his voice, just the timbre of his voice, reminded me of Gary Newman, who's a very different style entirely to this. The way he presents stuff as he's singing and maybe slightly talking at times reminded me quite a lot of Syd Barrett, who was the one of the founder members of Pink Floyd, and wrote some of the early Pink Floyd songs that he's known for, particularly kind of psychedelic stuff. And I think that this has been quite a strong influence on him. I've certainly, in the stuff that I've read, it says that he cited Syd Barrett as being an influence. I also saw something that was saying that he did a concert of covers of Syd Barrett stuff. So I think that that there's a certain amount of intent here, and the songs. So the subject matter is quite surrealist as well. in a psychedelic way. Again, reminded me of Syd Barrett in the way he approaches songs. Again, like in the previous review, which was of Grinderman, I don't want to give away too many details because the surprises that come out in the songs are worth leaving. But I think it's fair to say that he's got a fertile imagination. And some of this is quite bizarre in the stuff that he's talking about. I would say in a good way. So this was released in 1984, but it sounds in some ways like 1966, and it's got quite a lot of dark humour and whimsy to it as well. So it's got that kind of psychedelic lightness and some of the naivety to it. Some of the stuff in here is not safe for kids or not safe for work. There's a few places that are like that, but not all of them are like that. And there are some songs that there's a song about trams in London. It's kind of nostalgic song. I really enjoyed that song. I actually really enjoyed quite a few of the songs, particularly that I enjoyed the songwriting. I wasn't so enamored of some of the out of tune use of particularly out of tune guitars and things. It's something that tends to grate on me a little bit, but generally I enjoyed it, I would say. A decent amount. So that's what I think. Please tell me what you think by typing something meaningful in the comments box. That's it from me for now.
Furry green eye in a furry green hole. It's a furry green atom ball. Furry green eye in a furry green bowl. It's a furry green atom ball. Spread the dust, spread the dust, spread the dust in a reaching way as the dead bud flares, dead bud flares, dead bud flares in a swollen glow.